eat more high protein plant foods and not high protein animal foods. Because a lot of questions about protein, and the large studies, and even the study, Seventh-day Adventist Health Study 2, show that more animal proteins raise IGF-1, which speed aging and more chronic disease. And plant proteins prevent IGF-1 from going too low, but also prevent it from going too high. You want your IGF-1 to be moderately low, but not too low. And a vegan diet that's too low in protein can cause the IGF-1 to drop too low in the elderly. And a diet that has too much animal protein can cause the IGF-1 to get too high. And we can dial the IGF-1 right to the perfect level and keep it there. And that's why eating foods like green vegetables and beans and nuts and seeds in the same diet, you know, even using soybeans, both edamame and dried soybeans, and red beans and lentils, and in conjunction with green vegetables. You know, we're talking about using green vegetables both raw and cooked, which complements the beans, and also, of course, you know, utilizing some nuts and seeds, which also give you a protein richness. And whole grains that are intact, like quinoa, are a favorite grain because they're protein adequate and not high in arsenic. And we're taking people off their rice-based diets, off the white rice because of the high glycemic effect, and off the brown rice because brown rice in this country has been contaminated with arsenic. Most of the rice paddies have been converted first. The soils are not good, and they've been fertilizing them with chicken manure that's arsenic contaminated. And the brown rice in particular takes up arsenic into the hull. And when we're doing tests on people, we're seeing a lot of people on high brown rice diets having very high levels of arsenic in their tissues and in their blood. And arsenic is a carcinogen. So we're trying to switch people to whole grains that do not contain high levels of arsenic as well. So yes, more plant. We're trying to get the plant protein down and increase the high protein, animal protein down and increase the high protein plant foods like green vegetables, like beans, like soy, and soybeans, like quinoa, and of course lentils and mushrooms and things like that. So breakfast might be a time when you eat seeds. You use a whole grain like steel cut oats or quinoa a little bit, but you put your flax seeds and your hemp seeds or your chia seeds in there because you want those omega-3 and you want the lignans from those seeds with berries. It could be other fruit, but with some berries or low sugar fruits that are rich in flavonoids. So that might, and so you might make a delicious breakfast, something like that, whereas lunch is the salad and the soup, and the piece of fruit for dessert. And dinner, of course, usually is some type of prepared green vegetables where you're using woked or cooked or steamed or blanched or frozen greens like artichokes and asparagus and cabbages and bok choy and mushrooms and onions. And so that's the style of eating, you know. And if a person doesn't want to be a vegan and wants to include animal products, they can put a small amount of flavor a dish, like maybe an ounce per person, just to give a little flavor to something a few times a week, and not use animal product like a whole giant big piece on the plate. So they're still eating a high vegetable diet with the G-bombs in it, even if they do choose to use a small amount of animal.